I mean, does that hurt you though? Like, because like I think at the end of the day, it seems like you still view them as your brothers.
I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily say brothers at this point, but even if even if it ain't the big brother thing, I still look at them as the the uh the vets and the legends that they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And on top of them just, being legends, I view them as people we that I created um something monumental with. Like we made history on the underground level. You know what I mean? Like we helped change the landscape of mixtapes with the work that we was putting in and with the tapes that we was dropping during that time period. And those are just the facts. So it's like I could never like hate them or dislike them or nothing like that. It would never be that serious to me, regardless of um what took place or whatever the case be. Like I said, it's just, to me, it was just everything just got blown out of proportion, man. That was more so the thing that was just whack to me. I'm like, damn, this shit ain't even like, I didn't go there with the purpose of causing any of this. You feel me? So the fact that shit happened the way it happened after that, I was just like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to make the. I didn't even want to make the responses to them that I did, as far as like the interviews and shit like that, or the vlogs. I didn't want to do none of that. But it's like, you gotta. I gotta explain to. Well, I don't have to do anything, but I felt the need to explain to the consumers, how I felt about what was being said.
Could you have gotten on the phone with them? Do you think that would have helped solve things better?
Um, I don't think getting on the phone with them would have did anything at that point, because they had already went public and said what they said. You know what I'm saying? So it was like us speaking in private now isn't going to satisfy anyone but us being on the phone. You know what I mean? Like the world is still going to say whatever they're saying, because you didn't already addressed it in a certain way, and I responded to it in a certain way. So it's like, you
Th-
know.
Things are always harder when it's done in public, though.
But if something was said publicly, it has to be addressed publicly. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
can't like
That's true.
say something about a person and then go back in private and try to like clean it up. The damage is already done.
Right. So to bring it back to Nori, right? That situation, when you addressed it, you had said in your video, "I'm issuing a challenge to all these large platforms. Have me on your platform," right? And you said you were going to make a video to update. Has anybody reached out to you since then?
Nobody reached out, man.
That's crazy.
Nobody. But you know what? To be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting them to, because I already knew what it was anyway. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna reach out. But I'm gonna pull a card anyway, just to like prove my point.
Right.
And they did just that. Nobody reached out. So I wasn't surprised at all.
So at
It's
one point,
politics.
what were you say? Sorry.
It's politics.
Right. So at one point, I believe you were supposed to go on Vlad, right? I think one of the podcasts, the Havoc and Saigon one.
Yeah,
So,
facts.
so what ended up happening with that? Because I know you came out and you called Vlad a sucker.
Um, to be honest with you, I just never really went back up to New York like that. You know what I mean? I told Sai, next time I pop up there, I'm gonna hit him up. And I just haven't really like went there for a significant amount of time. I was like in and out when I went back up. So, that could be the reason. So I'm not gonna say it was anything other than that, but I'm gonna say that was the reason. You know what I mean? Just because I haven't really been up there like that.
Hmm. So why did you end up coming out and saying that about Vlad?
Because I didn't like see, this is the thing, right? I didn't like some of the things that Vlad was saying during the interview that he did with Sheik. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, first and foremost, man, he was saying like little stuff like we all know that you guys invested such and such in them. How do you know? Like, how do we know that? If that was the case, don't you think certain things would have been visible, as far as like in my career, if certain monies was invested in something. Like, how are you sitting there and you're so certain? You know what I mean? Like about these things. Like, so it was just certain stuff that he was saying during that interview that kind of irked me. You know what I mean? Like, so
Did he
that
have a relationship with you guys like previously during those years that you guys were coming up?
um, not that not that I could say. You know what I'm saying? Like, not anything notable. Pardon me 1 second, bro. Let me put this. Let me charge this my computer. Let me put it
All
on.
right.
Yeah, not nothing that I would say that was notable, man. We might have ran into him every now and then, but
But he didn't have like
he didn't have
inside
no.
information like that to like
He,
know like what
he
they
didn't
did.
he wasn't privy to no information that would have led him to think that, I know that they did this, they did that. No, bro, you don't know anything. You're making assumptions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you're stroking Lucha's ego while he's dead. You feel
Right.
me?
So you think it was more of like a political move for him to say that?
It was definitely political. On top of the fact that he didn't want to release, because let's not be confused here. Let's be real. Lucha's whole purpose of doing that specific interview was to respond to my interview.
Right.
They tried to disguise it like that wasn't the sole reason for him doing it. They tried to throw like a lot of little irrelevant questions at him. You know what I'm saying? To like, to try to make it like that's not what it was. But anybody with common sense know that's what it was. That's what everybody was waiting on anyway. They like, man, we wanted to see what he got to say. So Vlad knew I was in the algorithm. He's an algorithm genius.
Right.
I
Definitely.
was getting light and getting hundreds of thousands of views with my responses and all that. So instead of him contributing to that and dropping the response from Luke, he like, nah, I'm gonna drop 85 parts to it first. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna help this guy out at all. We're gonna wait until like the momentum died down. Then I'm gonna put the response out. So it's like a lot of stuff that he was doing led me to say what I said about him, man. But is I'm just not a fan of the politics, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially like the biased politics. Like if you're gonna be a journalist, be unbiased, man. You know what I'm saying? And like really get both sides of the spectrum or both sides of the story instead of just like rolling with one side and just thinking that you had the correct information because you're in the presence of a vet.
Right.
Because veterans aren't exempt from making mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like just because you're a legend doesn't mean you're going to get it right all the time.
Mm-hmm. So if Vlad hit you up and said, "I want to do an interview with you," would you do it?
Absolutely, man. I don't hold grudges. I'm too old for that, man.
Yeah. It seems like Vlad also likes to address issues with people during his interviews. Like he's always open to interviewing a person that he had an exchange with.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what generates views.
Right.
Like I said, he's an algorithm genius. He knows what he's doing, man. You know what I'm saying? So, if he was to reach out right now, I want to do this, I'm gonna line it up. Let's get to it. And I'm gonna ask you some hard questions during this exchange though, too. So no rainbow. Like you're gonna ask me a couple of things. I'm gonna be interviewing you as well during this interview because I want to know a couple of things also.
That would be dope.
You know what I'm saying?